What's up, Colin? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Jay. Thanks for having me today, man.
Absolutely. Welcome to Burn the Ship. Burn the Ship is a entrepreneurial podcast, really mainly for small to medium businesses, people that are just getting into business, and some seasoned folks too. We love to give advice to the guys or the girls that are watching that have taken that leap and burned their ship and gone into business for themselves, because we all know it's tough, especially those first few years. And I really got a bunch of questions to ask you because I know you're really excited about your business and what you're doing. So what I want to do is first give you the floor to tell you who you are, kind of your background.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jay. Hey, first and foremost want to say love the name of the podcast. When I got that email, I was like, this is the coolest freaking name of a podcast. Like, I need to be on this. I 100% believe in burning the ships. And like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going all in on it. I'm not keeping the ships afloat so that I can go back and with my tail tucked between my legs, right? Like it's all
Sure.
in or nothing. So, love that. So who I am, what I've done 8 years ago. Well, my name is Colin Dehaan. On all social medias as Cowboy Colin because I wear this cowboy hat. And 8 years ago, I launched my first business. I went through life, middle class dude. Mom and dad both worked jobs with pensions and 401ks and health insurance and all that. And I grew up believing that lie. Like I had to go to college, I had to get a job with health insurance and 401k or pension. Like that's the only way to be worth anything in life. And so I did. I went through 4 years of college to be an English teacher, actually. Really just wanted to coach sports. Did that for 4 years, started student assisting, and realized really, really quickly I'm not going to fit in here. So I got into sales, did that for a couple years, 3 years.
What kind of sales were you doing?
I started in insurance. I did insurance sales
Nice.
for about 3 years, and then I got into building supply, where I was selling roofing, siding, gutter, windows, doors, all that stuff. Really, discovered this. These are my people. Like this is what I like doing. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm good at. And started my gutter business a year after I started at the supply house because I saw the need. Saw that I had no gutter guys that I could, in good faith, actually refer. Right? It was like they walk in and they're drunk, they're high, they're whatever. I know they're not going to call back. They talk, they brag about you know gouging customers. Like I just can't send these people your numbers, right? So my boss was like, dude, if you just answer your phone and show up, you'll make double what you're making here. And I went up to him. I made triple what I made there, right? My first year in business. So it was awesome. It was a great move for me. But I ran it just like a cowboy. I was shooting from the hip, had no idea what business was. I thought owning an LLC was having a business. And boy, was I wrong. Had a little scare. I about took a dive off of a 2-story roof, and my life just like flashed before my eyes, and I was like, "Holy cow! If I didn't die, like my wife and 6-month old baby boy are gonna be taking care of me because I'm a vegetable, right?" And my wife hadn't worked in 2 years at that point. Um, and I was like, "We're gonna lose everything." And then I started learning what building a business was, and that was the start, I call it, of my entrepreneur journey. 2 years into owning a business, I started building an actual business and hiring people to do things better than I could do them, and the rest is history. So fast forward
Yeah.
here, 8 years, we'll do just over $10 million this year, and we're in a very very remote area up here in Michigan. I have to serve 4 counties to hit 100,000 people, right? So super remote area. And then I have a location that we just launched last year in Denver and another one in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. And those are gutter only. And nationwide, I help people. I have a program called Gutter Launch, where we help people launch their gutter business to automation so that it's a sellable asset for them and their families. And it's turnkey business, so they get all the same learning management system that my employees go through, all the documents, policies, procedures, everything I use in my business every single day is what we sell in Gutter Launch, right? And
Nice.
so we've got just under 80 members in Gutter Launch now, after just 8 months of business in that. So it's been a huge blessing in our life, and
Would you call it a franchise, or would you call it just a licensing
it's
type
actually
deal?
it's neither, right? So they don't have to use the Gutter Launch name at all. It's more or less a program. So it's a program slash course, except way, 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 way more, right? Yeah.
Sure, sure.
It's not something they buy and use once and it gets them here. It's they buy it, they use it for life because it trains every single one of their employees, admin, sales, technicians, management, warehouse, you name it. It's, I mean, foolproof training. The goal on it, and I physically did this, was had my or he was 7 at the time, 7-year-old boy go through it. And if there was something he didn't understand, I had to make it simpler. And what I
Nice.
learned was my 7-year-old is pretty damn smart. And
Sure.
there, I still get questions like, "Hey, you showed us to use this wheel to measure gutter, but you didn't show us how to actually use the wheel." And I was like, "Damn! Like, all right, we'll make a video on how to walk with a wheel, right?"
That's
Uh,
right.
so we got
Well,
really, really simple with it.
I think your story is not unlike a lot of entrepreneurs. Hey, I'm making that leap, I'm making that step, and then you go some amount of years with shooting from the hip.
Yeah,
I'm doing sales, I'm doing all right, but there's some organization that I have to get through, and I think that those years that you go through that pain are absolutely necessary to the organization in the future. I have a guy he's one of the largest residential painting companies in the Southeast.
okay,
Very big. Does 40, 50, 60 million dollars a year in residential painting, and he's got about 4 locations now. But his thing was, and I absolutely resonate with what he said. He goes, man, I put a bid in for a really, really big deal, and it was going to be awesome in my first 2 years of business. And it probably, if I would have gotten that deal and I was really close, it probably been the worst thing for my business,
right,
because I would have not gone out and get anything after that because it had been so much money. Then that company ended up going out of business, and I would have been.
that's
I
right,
probably would have gone out of business because I wasn't ready to knock on doors and go back to the grassroots of how to build a business. So it's necessary to go through those first few years and get your brains bashed in, if
right.
you will. Have some victories and have some losses, and go, hey, this is what I learned, because after that 2 years, you had a way better handle on what organization really means.
For sure. And like a whole nother gamut to that is getting those big contracts. A lot of people, I mean, for example, I've mentored a local painter for a couple of years here. He went from 250K to 2 million in 1 year of just talking to me over lunch a couple times, right?
Nice.
And just started crushing. But the next year, he got an opportunity to bid this $2.4 million project. And he said, "Hey, dude, I'm the only one bidding this. So what do you think?" And I was like, "Don't do it. You're not ready for it. And if you do decide to do it, you need to set terms that you're getting paid regularly on this thing. Otherwise, it's going to bankrupt you."
Right.
And he's like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, I got it. I got it." Gets the deal, right? I don't know what his payment terms are, but last conversation we had, he goes, "You were right, dude. This thing's about to bankrupt me. Like I didn't set good payment terms on it, and I'm trying to float labor at this point and some materials because they don't want to pay any more until the project's completed, and I'm upside down like 200K in this thing right now. I owe people money. This is hurting me. Like blah blah blah." And I was like, "Dude, I told you. I knew this
Yep.
was going to happen. This happens
Yeah,
all
because
the time."
those guys want to be, those big developers and things. They want to be 90, 120 days in the rears,
Right.
and because they're dealing with the same things, obviously, that they're dealing with drawdown money too,
That's right.
from the banks and this and that. So the payment terms are absolutely.
Yeah. Not in the small
They're
guy's favor, right?
no, it's not. It's not. And they would have, what you're right about is they probably would have said, hey, you can't do this deal unless you can do these terms,
Right.
because that's their constraints, is that, and it's unfortunate, because they would have been like, nah, you can't do it. Then we'll have to find somebody else because we have to be in these payment
Right.
that we have to be 90 and 100, 120 days behind.
That's right.
It's unfortunate.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
Right.
What do you think that you that in that in so you, we went the 2 years, and you struggled a little bit, but you're shooting at the hip. What do you think the number one suggestion is in that or that third year where you were like, this is what I got together, the one thing, the pinpoint, the one thing?
Yeah, the one thing, there's a bunch of things, but the biggest one for me was the mindset of giving up the ideal of perfection. All right. When I was the guy doing everything, it felt like it was being done perfect, right? Because as the business owner, it is perfect, right? Like you're selling the right deal, you're the right solution, you're installing it. It was perfect. And that third year, when I started hiring techs and sales reps and all that, I caught myself getting really, really caught up in the stupid details of a screw on this side of the downspout instead of this side, right? The lap on the downspout pipe band being the wrong way, and I'm just like, none of this matters, right? I had a mentor that told me this. I don't know, it broke my brain. Customers don't know the difference between 80% of perfect and 100% as long as your product is doing what it's supposed to do. They don't know the aesthetics of it.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, oh, damn, that's a huge deal. He goes, now you can't just be like, oh, tough luck, customer. That's how it is, right? If a customer does notice something that's not perfect, you get your butt back there and fix it right away. You wow them with your customer service. And so that completely changed my business. And I went from being, a jerk of a boss because I was nitpicking everything to being a leader and empowering guys to run at their own pace and like, let's get this. And if you find a way to make things more efficient, let's implement that across the company, right? Uh,
Sure.
and that was gangbusters for us. As soon as that happened, it was just like off we went.
I like something else you said, which I'm in the credit card processing game. I told you that when we talked on the phone,
Yep.
and it's the keep it simple, stupid, the
Mm-hmm.
KISS mentality, and you really got to do that with your customers. And I say it, that. I tell a story when this was when my oldest daughter's 13. I guess she was probably 5 or 6, and then the youngest daughter was 2 or 3, and they were on the trampoline. I was grilling out, and they were on the trampoline jumping. And right when I was finishing, I looked down and I said, "Hey guys, it's dinner time." And the oldest one looked up and said, "5 more minutes, Dad." And it dawned on me right then that she had no concept of what 5 minutes is, none whatsoever. The only thing that she knew, the only thing she knew is if I said yes, she could stay on that trampoline.
Right.
That was it. That
Yep.
was it. So, and it's the simple-minded thinking, and that's what that customers to me are. And I'm not trying to downgrade what customers are, but they don't know what they're doing. And if you were asking me to go do my taxes right now, get out of here. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Right.
Not only because that sucks, but I don't know how to do them properly.
Yep.
So I hire somebody to do that,
That's right.
So to me, I tell my guys in processing, I'm like, you can't just go explain everything that we know because confused customers don't buy.
That's
Number
right.
one. They,
Yep.
they, they run away from that. So you got to be as simple as possible. We're going to save you X amount of money. We're going to do this. We're going to get this cool machine. We're going to put it in your thing, or this cool technology. It's easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And you had said that on your on your content with your thing. You're like, I wanted my 7-year-old to be do it, which is a freaking great,
Yep.
because that's really how you got to teach people, right? You
Mhm.
teach people in the most simple form, and then they might graduate into the a little bit more. But here's the problem: you got to sell on that base level because your customers are that. And you're right, 80% to 100% they don't know a difference to that.
Right.
So. I love that aspect of keeping it simple, stupid. That old kiss factor. Tell me something that you guys do really, really great, and tell me something that you struggle with.
Yeah. Something that we do really, really great is training our employees. So there's a study out there from Forbes that on average it costs 1 to 1.5 times an employee's salary to properly train them. Meaning, like they're not an asset for your business until you've paid 1 to 1.5 times their salary. So if you're paying 40 grand, right, for an entry level employee, that's 40,000 to $60,000 that it costs you to adequately hire and train them, right? So what we've been able to do through a good learning management system and testing and all that, we'll take an entry level employee, whether that's an admin, a technician, or sales rep. And sales is a little bit longer cycle because they're the face of our company, right? So we invest in them for a couple, like 2 weeks, 2, 3 weeks. But everything else, within 2 days, they are an asset producing employee for us, right? Which means that they get to make more money faster. We do 3 weeks of what we call training pay. And so for 3 weeks, we review them twice on all of the skills for their position. So they know what they're crushing at and what they're sucking at. And so they can be focused on increasing that and not so focused. A lot of people think like, oh man, I suck at talking on the phone, but I'm really good at asking people for money. But in reality, it's the total opposite or whatever. So if you give them your grading scale, and they can increase their pay really, really quickly. So then after 3 weeks, we sit down and we might, an entry level employee on the technician side, they'll start at like $18 an hour. And then after that 3 weeks, we determine based on the skills and how fast they've improved and how quick they are and efficient they are on a job, they might get bumped up to 23, $24 an hour for a skill that they've never done before. And that's pretty cool. And then it fast tracks them to being a lead tech where they're paid on performance pay. And then they start making 1,500, $2,000 a week, and it's just gangbusters for them. So training is something that we do really, really, I shouldn't say that, just training, hiring and training. We don't have issues hiring. And that's probably my favorite thing about my company. And when we need people, it's like, all right, cool, let's go. And we've got a list of people ready to come work for us. An area that we could improve is in our sales department. Now, we sell 50 to 70% of our gutter jobs and like 30% of our roof leads. But it could be better. We just brought on a sales manager about a month ago, and that's been a huge asset for us. It took us about 2 years to find the sales manager that we're looking for. We had tried different ones, burned through them. They were a bad culture fit. They didn't know how to do what we needed them to do, whatever that was. But we really struck gold with this one, and that's getting increased dramatically. And we're actually redoing our entire sales process right now. And we're tired of lead babies, right? So every company you hear it, right? Their sales reps will do nothing but sit on their hands until we get them leads, right? And you get them leads, and then they're happy, but they still just burn through them because they don't understand it cost us 150 to $600 to get them to the door. So they just show up and do their thing, and if they buy, they buy. If they don't, they don't, right? You get inherently lazy sales reps. So we're trying to crush that, and we're going to get sales reps knocking doors. So for the first 6 weeks, we're not giving them any house leads. It's their job to go out and knock doors and build that skill set and build their own leads. And then after that, we're transitioning where they only get one house lead. And so we'll send them to that one house lead, and then it's their duty to get 2 to 3, 4, 5 more leads that day. And
Yeah.
we've been testing that, and it's working, right? When you knock doors, I mean, I just had a guy Friday, he only knocked on 15 doors, set 3 appointments. And these are for roofs and gutters. So we're talking like 25 to $40,000 projects. 3 appointments. We turned one lead that we paid $250 to get him to, turned it into 4. So now our cost per lead is not $250. It's whatever that is, 60, 62 and change, 62.50, right? That's huge. That's
It is
game
very
changer.
big. Well, cost to acquire goes down by 75%. It changes a lot. Yeah, no, I feel like too is once you, like you said, lead babies, which are terrible. Because here's why. Here's my outlook on lead babies. Or this is if I teach you how to cold call and I teach you how to network properly, where you're bringing your own leads in, building your own pipeline, if you will, because that's what it is. You're building a pipeline here. Well, then after a certain amount of time, when you are closing 50, 60, 70% of your own leads, I can then give you leads in a year from in-house. you'll close 95% of those.
Yep.
Because the lead babies don't even close as much as the ones that are doing their own pipeline because they've dealt with it from day one. So they don't have that relationship with them. They don't even have a better closing ratio.
No.
Lead babies don't even have a better closing. That's what fucking amazed me. I'm like, dude, this is on a platter. Well,
Right.
I deserve this and I deserve this. Dude, you better get out and fucking knock on some
Get
doors,
it.
son.
That's right.
So
I know.
yeah, they don't even have better closing ratios, is what I've seen.
That's right.
Because they don't appreciate it. So but yeah, well, I love what you're doing. How can we get a hold of you if I'm like, hey, I'm a roofing company, I really want to start my gutter side of my business, or I'm in decks and awnings, and I want to do gutters too because they're right there. How do I get a hold of you and learn?
Yeah, best way is gutterlaunch.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook under Cowboy Colin. I think it's _ Cowboy Colin on a couple of them. But you'll see us there. You'll see a lot of my content where we're talking different numbers and how much money there is to be made in the gutter industry. I firmly believe that the gutter industry is the best home service business that you can get into. Low cost to low barrier to entry, very, very low liability. And it's like a mid-ticket, so it's easy to sell a $3,000 to $5,000 thing versus a $30,000 to $50,000 thing with a roof, right? But it's also not pressure washing where it's a $600 average ticket.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a good average ticket right there. That puts a lot in, and I mean our gross profits run about 61%, and that
Nice.
includes commissions on it. So
Nice.
yeah.
How much cheaper is workman's comp on gutters than roofing?
A heck of a lot cheaper.
Is it?
I don't know the rates.
Because roofing, a big cost to roofing is insurance and workman's comp and all that. So if you can get a really again, I'm in the credit card processing business, so I know what people's average tickets are because we look at them all the time.
Right.
So if I can get in an average ticket that the profit margin is high and my insurance is a lot lower, it makes more sense. Because I can sell a lot more gutters because of the average ticket than I can roofs.
That's right. That's the
Just
truth.
in general.
Right. Like our trucks, they'll do $25,000 to $30,000 a week on average.
Nice.
And that's two guys in a truck working 35, 40 hours a week. Right.
Nice.
One roof in one day can be 25, 30 grand.
And for those people in the South, he's saying roof.
Roof.
When he says roof, he's saying roof.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. I love it. I talked to this guy in Canada, and he was saying process, and I was like, everybody in the South, what he's saying is process.
That's funny. Right.
Process.
Yes, sir.
So anyways, well, Colin, man, thank you for coming on. You gave us your website. Give us an email address. Give us something where we can spit it out there.
Yeah. So it's support. Oh God, this is a long one. It's support at biz built for you, all spelled out, .com. So support at bizbuiltforyou.com. It's a great way to get a hold of us. Honestly, best way is go to gutterlaunch.com and you can contact us right from there.
Gutterlaunch.com.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining Burn the Ship. Everybody be kind to each other out there.